Well, good afternoon, everybody, and I appreciate you tuning in. We're living in some really strange and challenging times, and I'm so proud to be the mayor of this city and this community that has come together so well in dealing with the crisis at hand. And I certainly want to express my gratitude to all our city employees at all levels that are working so hard with this. Well, we also have had incredible partnerships. Governor Baker and his team have been incredible. Congressman Lynch and our partners at the federal level, he's been a true champion. Today we want to talk about another program to combat the economic challenges that this has created. And Congress has done some great stuff, and I know the Congressman will speak to some of that, and we're grateful for his efforts to date on this. And one of the things we talked about a few weeks ago, I remember Congressman, you called me and said, what can we do? How can we be helpful? You come out, we met with the hospital groups and the medical folks, and we talked to you about CDBG. That was a mechanism already in place. If we could feed that a little bit and perhaps lift the caps on that, you listened, you got it done. So the CDBG program that we have in place, which is overseen by our planning department, does a great job. We are dedicating X amount of dollars. We're starting with $1 million. I could see that going upwards to $2 or $3 million for the program we're talking about today. A lot of the smaller businesses that we have in the city, and we have a lot of them. We have a great economy here. I think we're one of the good engines in Massachusetts, but we have everything from the great corporate level right down to the little mom and pop shops and cleaners and barber shops. And those folks are really, really struggling during this. And we did some great work with the rental assistance program, and I'm grateful for the Chamber for partnering with us on that through the Affordable Housing Trust to help the workers. Well, a mom and pop store with a few employees that just live on their income, they're hurting right now. So this grant program that we're establishing will provide small grants up to $10,000 per to assist them to hopefully to keep them moving so they'll be able to reopen. Obviously, the fear is that this continues to spiral down and the economy then goes into a deep recession, which would be problematic for all of us. So it's incumbent upon all of us to do everything we can to help certainly our brothers and sisters in need. Qualification preferences, for example, there'll be under 20 employees, has to be the owner's primary source of income, and it has to be a gross income of under $1 million. The applications are going to be done entirely online. Again, the planning department will be handling that. You'll be able to go to our city website, www.quincyma.gov, and make the connection there. They'll also be available by phone to answer questions. The very important part I want to emphasize, because I know I've seen lines and backups and people trying to get help in different ways. This is not first come, first serve. This is applications will be processed and people will be dealt with and handled. So don't feel like you're in any panic mode. You have to be in a line. We're going to keep it open till May 15th, the deadline. And if we have to extend it, we will. We'll see what kind of activity we get back. So again, first come, first serve is not the case here. Everyone will be dealt with as they apply. And again, as I mentioned, this is part of the Community Development Block Grant Program, and this additional money comes through the CARES Act. And we meet every day. Chief of Staff Chris Walker has been phenomenal as a point person for me. Monday through Sunday, we're meeting every day. We're on calls constantly with other mayors, with the governor, with Lieutenant Governor, with Congressman Lynch. Everybody rowing in the same direction, working hard to do the right thing. And I couldn't ask for a better partner in Congressman Stephen Lynch. I mean, long before this crisis happened, this congressman's been in Quincy hundreds of times in his district. Sometimes socially, we've had dinner together, but many times dealing with issues that we're facing as a community. And we couldn't ask for a better champion in Congress. And Congressman, thank you for all your efforts. And if you wouldn't mind, join us and talk a little about the program.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate your kind words. And as always, I appreciate the great partnership we've had between yourself and also with Governor Baker. This has been, a seamless effort, I would say. Tim Cahill, good to see you again. Thanks for the great work that you've been doing as well. Just to follow up on the CDBG announcement, and as usual, I think Tom Koch is ahead of the curve on this, and I'll explain. When we pushed out the first tranche of money, which was $340 billion, which we tried to put into the SBA program in CARES 1. We also try to make sure that we funded the Community Development Block Grants, that's the CDBG, for those who are unfamiliar with it. But the CDBG monies give the authority and the discretion to our governors and our mayors, who we think have a better grasp on the needs within the state. So I have high confidence in Charlie Baker and in Mayor Koch that putting money into that CDBG pipeline will get to the people that need it most, because they're here every day, they're on the ground, they get the complaints and the phone calls. So when we did meet with Tom Koch early on in this crisis and with the public health officials, they were talking about, well, there's nothing there for our food pantry people and Father Bill's and Manat Community Health Center, and how do we steer money to those people who are really on the front lines? And so we were able to put money into that program, but I think Tom anticipated that gap before a lot of other people did. And so what he's doing right now is what we're going to do again in the next bill. There's a debate going on in Washington right now about the need for additional money for states and municipalities. There's some disagreement there. It's not wide disagreement, I want to emphasize. I know that the majority leader in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, has said, that bankruptcy might be a better route for some states and cities. But that is not widely shared even among my Republican colleagues, I'm happy to say. That's something that I think is a unique viewpoint that he has. I would say that many of my colleagues, Republican and Democrat in the House, we realize that, look, if you make sure that Governor Baker has the resources he needs, if we have the assurance that Tom Koch has the resources he needs during this crisis, then the firefighters will be paid, the EMS and ambulance service will be paid, the police department, the public health officials. That infrastructure will be there, and so we'll be able to get through this crisis. So that's a debate that's going on right now. We were going to go back into session on May 4th, but that's been pulled back because of the fact that Washington, D.C. is now spiking. Northern Virginia, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. are in a peak right now with coronavirus, so they asked us to stand down for about a week and see how that proceeds. The other thing I would like to say is that I've been involved with the census, and we're trying to conduct a census for the purpose of the next redistricting and the next federal election. And I just want to put a notice out there that because of the coronavirus and the difficulty we're all facing, Quincy's numbers are down right now. And so that's not typical, because Quincy is a very patriotic and robust voting area, thank God. And I just want to make sure people understand, if they see this broadcast, that we need you to, the paper ballots have gone out in terms of the paper forms for filing for the census is very important. Filling out that census form, actually, because a lot of federal funding goes out by formula. By filling out that census form, it will give greater resources to Mayor Koch and the state legislature and Governor Baker when that federal money is divided. So by filling out the census, you're strengthening our ability. I know you've all seen the ads by Secretary of State Galvin. He's absolutely correct, and he's been at the forefront of this nationally to make sure we try to conduct the census in a way that's appropriate and gives us the best chance of success overall. But I do want to thank Mayor Koch. We're continuing to try to roll out some additional funding proposals for state and local government, and I know that when the resources are offered to Tom Koch, I have a confidence that they're being spent efficiently and in the best interest of the people of Quincy, and happy to have him as a partner. I think that please be safe. Please make sure that you abide by the governor's protocols for social distancing, and We've had a good opportunity to work with Manat Community Health Center, and so Cynthia Sierra, the CEO down there, we were able to send a couple of thousand masks, N95 masks, some face shields. We also sent, thousands of masks and face shields down to South Shore Hospital and to Milton, Beth Israel Deaconess Milton. And we're trying to make sure that we have the PPE for our first responders as well. But I want to thank all of the people who are on the front lines, our police and fire, ambulance service, EMS, and state workers, our nurses and docs that are out there doing a wonderful job. I'm very proud of the way Quincy, the city of Quincy, and its leadership, both at the city level and also our state legislature and city councils as well, the way they've responded to this challenge. It's really been one team, one fight, and it's very encouraging and heartwarming to see that happen. So thank you, and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Congressman. This has been weird to get used to.
Yeah.
My wife says I look better with it on, so. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for your presence and continue to work, because I know, as you alluded to, there's still much work to be done down in D.C., but thanks for all you do. Next up is our Planning Director. At Planning Department also oversees our CDBG program. We have an incredible team. Anytime we have issues relating to not only planning and zoning, but really federal programs that are coming through the city, I know that HUD has a great respect for our department as well, because we do it right, we follow the law, we're efficient, and we get the money in the street where it's needed. Heading up that effort in this program, our fine Planning Director, Mr. Jim Fatseas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to talk about the how we're going to go about this. All 17 members of the Planning Department and Community Development Group are ready, willing, and able to assist in this process. This will include assistance in filling out the application if needed, answering questions business owners may have, following up with applicants to collect additional information if required, processing the applications, awarding the funds, and monitoring. Jim Scribi will be the primary contact person for this program. Jim is the Operations Supervisor for Economic Development in the Planning and Community Development Department, and he can be reached at 617-376-1378, or James Scribi, Scribi is SCRIBI, at quincyma.gov. The senior leadership of the Economic Development Team that will administer this program includes Maureen Geary, who is our Director of Business and Government Relations, Sean Glennon, Community Development Director, Liz Manning, Senior Principal Planner, and Neil McCole, the PCD Director of Finance. Maureen will lead the marketing and outreach efforts to the businesses in the city. Sean is responsible for making sure that we comply with all federal programs and regulations. Liz is our Senior Planner for special economic development programs. And Neil, in addition to overseeing the program finances, has also been instrumental in developing the internal program workflow. Each of them plays a critical role in this process, and I want to thank them for their tireless effort in developing the program over a short period of time. They have taken best practices from other communities as well as creating Quincy-specific policies. And it's important to point out that we are going to be putting this out as user-friendly as possible. So the application itself is very user-friendly and can be found on the city's website at quincyma.gov, located in the banner at the top of the page. That banner will take applicants to a landing page where they can learn more about the program and apply for the funding. Each applicant will begin the process by registering as a new user in the system, which is very quick and an easy process. This registration process will not only ensure that a case number is properly assigned to the file, but will also be used to send an email to each applicant to confirm that we have received their application. Again, I'd like to reiterate the availability, knowledge, and commitment of the entire staff to administer this program and to benefit as many as possible. And finally, I'd like to echo the mayor's thanks and appreciation to Congressman Lynch for his support, not only for the CDBG stimulus grant that will be used to fund the small business program, but also with his support for the CDBG program in general. What many of you don't know is since 1975, Quincy has received over $90 million in CDBG funding, which has been used to fund thousands of projects, including public infrastructure work, parks and playground projects, housing rehabilitation projects, and countless public service activities, including assistance to local food banks, community centers, veterans programs, and senior transportation. CDBG was also the primary funding source that created the Mannett Community Health Center that Congressman just spoke of in the late 70s. And Mannett, along with local agencies such as Quincy Community Action Program, have been key partners in working with the city to address the COVID-19 pandemic over the past several weeks. And we are proud of our support in providing these CDBG funds to these agencies over the years. In closing, thank you, Congressman Lynch, for championing the CDBG program in Congress, and thank you, Mayor Koch, for your support of this local business community by allocating, as he pointed out, at least $1 million in CDBG funds for this vital new program. I'd like to turn it back over to the mayor so he can introduce the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Next up is our president of Quincy Chamber of Commerce. And when this started to break several weeks ago, we talked about a rental assistance program for those people that are working in the hospitality industry. And you think about the people that live really paycheck to paycheck, the dishwashers, the waiters and waitresses, and hairdressers and barbers and so forth. They're the ones that we knew needed some help. So the Affordable Housing Trust voted to support our request of $1 million to help with rental assistance. And really the implementation of that, we partnered with the Quincy Chamber to process the application, distribute that money. And so Tim, thank you, Jim, Tim and Jim. Tim, I'm so grateful for the partnership we have, not just at this time, but I think we've grown the business climate in the city with your leadership. We are now out there known as a friendly place to do business. And I think what we're doing now is another message to our business community that we really care. We appreciate their investment in our community, them hiring people in our community, and so it's a great partnership. So, Tim, I know you're going to be helpful in this endeavor as well, so if you'd come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for those kind words. I appreciate very much being included in this. Thank you, Congressman, for your continued support of Quincy. Started in a crisis back in 9/11, and you've never wavered, which I think is pretty special. This is another crisis that we're working through, and I'm extremely confident we'll get through it. I want to thank Jim, Fatseas, and the entire planning department for partnering with us on the rental assistance program, for helping us with that, for the city's trust in us, for giving us sort of the control of that and the money to do good. And I will say it's been nothing but successful, and the mayor does not overstate the fact that these people that we're helping out, that this fund is helping out, are living on the very edge. They are so thankful for the help that the city has given them just to get them through April, and now we're in the process of getting them through May. And our fervent hope is that we'll be back to work sometime in June, or at least partially, if not fully, so that they can get back to work. Because I've heard it over and over again, the folks that we're helping do not really want help, they just want to be able to work, but they're so appreciative of the help that they're getting. And this program is coming at the right place at the right time, because we've been helping the employees, and now we're going to be helping the small business people. So the Small Business Grant Fund is a phenomenal idea by the mayor, by the congressman, by the planning department, and I believe from what I've seen so far, they've structured it perfectly, trying to help the smallest of the small businesses, the folks that are really going to struggle to reopen but are committed to reopening. And we'll help in any way, but this hits the right spot. There's no question about it. And I think that's what we've learned over the past month as we've rolled out program after program, is that the money's important and the announcement's important, but what's key is getting the money where it's needed. And to help folks pay rent, I've been getting calls from business owners saying, we need help too. And the mayor heard that call, and they've been working on it along with the planning department for the last 2 weeks and rolled it out very, very quickly. We know how anxious people are, and anxiety is probably one of the worst impacts that this shutdown has caused. People just don't know where to go and don't know how to get through the next week or the next month, and this program will help them tremendously. It will help them with May. It may help them with June. They can rest assured when their rent is paid that their building is still going to be there when they reopen, and maybe get some supplies and get started. So it would not have happened but for the partnership that we've all developed, and it's remarkable. And again, this goes to the folks that I work with directly. The mayor's in touch with them all the time, but the business community has been there from the beginning. Those that can help have helped. Those that can work have worked. And those who are trying to support us have been able to those that can have been supporting us at the Chamber as well, so that we can continue to do the work. Our program, our rental assistance program, wouldn't be where it is today if not for all of the building that has gone on in the city over the last decade. And I bring that up because there's a lot of controversy that goes with that building. But without the developers putting in money into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, we wouldn't be helping people on the ground for these last 2 months. And the same thing goes with this program. If not for the help of the congressman, of the federal government, there wouldn't be money to give to put the CDBG team in place to help these small businesses. I know they appreciate it. I know they will continue to appreciate it. And all they want to do is go back to work. They're looking forward to paying their taxes when they have it. Because they know that we know that that this is the only way they're going to be able to do that. This is the only way they're going to be able to do that. But we really do appreciate, I know the city has worked really closely with people to help them get through this, whether it's been pushing payments back a month. Landlords have been as helpful as they can to push rents back and to understand that this is a process. And I know the same thing will happen with the business owners rental as well. So I'm thankful for everything you've done, Mayor, Congressman, Jim, and really thankful that you've looked out for those people that I represent, which is the business community that now needs the help. They didn't before, they weren't looking for it, but now they need it, and now it's here. And we greatly appreciate it. We'll do everything in our part to get the money where it belongs to those business people and the building owners so that we can get America back to work again. Thank you all very much, and thank you, Mayor and Congressman.
Thank you, Tim. I think when people read and see, when you're talking hundreds of billions of dollars, it's tough to grasp that. But a program like this kind of puts it in perspective for a lot of people that need this. This is a tangible result of the work going on in D.C. Again, thank you so much, Congressman. And I do want to acknowledge that in addition to this program, all the work that's being done every day, Ruth Jones, our health commissioner, has been remarkable with her staff, working with police, fire department, booster ambulance on the front lines. You mentioned Cynthia Sierra from Man at Health. We've been in touch with Harvard Pilgrim and BI and South Shore. Everybody really talking to each other, exchanging information, trying to be helpful to one another throughout this. Even the sewer and water guys and park guys, the infrastructure has to keep going. We've got to maintain our systems. They're out there every day doing that. Our teachers teaching remotely from home. Very different, very unique, and doing the best they can under the circumstances. Our food service people in our schools putting together the grab-and-go lunches, again, through federal money that some of these families need. These kids may not get 3 meals a day if not for that program. So I'm so proud of the way our communities come together, our nonprofits, our food distribution through our food pantries. Everybody's working so well. The YMCA stepping up, offering their facility, helping out with our homeless population. I could go on and on and on about the incredible response this community has had to this crisis. So, well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for attending, and let's go get the money out in the street, guys and ladies. Thanks. Be safe.